Elon Musk here. Last winter killed over 200 Americans. Most of them were elderly. Most died in their own homes. And this winter is going to be worse. Much worse. Not because of the cold, because of what's breaking down while you're trying to stay warm. What I'm about to share isn't about climate or politics. It's about survival. Your survival. The next 4 months will test every senior in America in ways you haven't experienced in your lifetime. And the people who should be warning you, they're staying quiet because what's coming exposes decades of infrastructure neglect they're responsible for. I'm going to share 4 critical survival wisdoms you need to implement in the next 2 weeks. Not next month, 2 weeks. And the 4th wisdom is the most important because it reveals something about government emergency plans that will shock you. Something they don't want seniors to know. So don't skip anything. Every piece could save your life. Drop your state in the comments. I need to see where you're watching from because some regions are going to be hit harder than others. And subscribe right now because what I'm sharing could literally be the difference between life and death this winter. Before this message ends, you'll understand why this winter is different, what's actually failing, why seniors are the most vulnerable, and exactly what you must do in the next 14 days. But you cannot skip any part. If you miss one wisdom, you won't understand how the pieces connect. And in a winter crisis, missing one piece can be fatal. So let me start with something most people don't know. The power grid that delivers electricity to your home wasn't designed for the demand we put on it today. It was built in the 1960s and 70s, 60 years ago, and it's failing. Not someday, right now. Last summer, you saw rolling blackouts in multiple states. Too much air conditioning demand. The grid couldn't handle it, but summer blackouts are inconvenient. You sit outside. You go to a cooling center. You survive. Winter blackouts kill. When the power goes out in January at 14 degrees, you have hours before your home becomes uninhabitable, hours before pipes freeze, hours before hypothermia. And this winter, the grid is more vulnerable than it's ever been. Here's why. Natural gas supplies are at their lowest levels since 1984. That's the fuel that generates 40% of America's electricity and heats millions of homes. The strategic reserves that normally buffer supply shocks? Depleted. When demand spikes during cold snaps, there's no cushion. Prices will explode, and supply will run short. At the same time, we're seeing energy infrastructure attacks increasing. Last year, there were over 100 attacks on substations and power facilities. This year, already over 200. Most don't make national news. But each one weakens the grid. Each one increases the chance of cascading failures when demand surges. Now add the international situation. Russia and Ukraine. That conflict affects global energy markets. Europe is short on natural gas. They're buying from the same suppliers we use, driving prices up. Middle East tensions affecting oil supplies. Oil affects diesel. Diesel runs the trucks that deliver heating oil and propane. Everything is connected, and everything is more fragile than the news is telling you. This brings me to the first survival wisdom, and this one is urgent because you have maybe 2 weeks before prices spike and supplies tighten. Survival wisdom 1. Secure your primary heat source and backup systems before November ends.
If you heat with natural gas, call your provider this week. Ask if they offer fixed-rate contracts. Lock in now while prices are relatively stable.
I'm seeing natural gas spot prices already up 30% from last year. By January, they could double. A fixed rate protects you from spikes that could take your heating bill from $200 to $600 overnight. If you heat with propane, fill your tank to 100% right now. Don't wait until December. Don't wait until you're at 25%. Fill it completely today. Propane prices always spike in winter. But this year, with diesel shortages affecting delivery trucks, you might not be able to get a delivery when you need it. Fill your tank while you still can. If you heat with heating oil, same thing. Fill your tank now. Heating oil is refined from the same crude oil that makes diesel and gasoline. With diesel prices spiking and supplies tight, heating oil follows. The price you pay today will be cheaper than what you'll pay in 6 weeks. And having a full tank means you're not dependent on getting a delivery during a shortage. But here's what nobody wants to talk about. Your primary heat source is going to fail. Maybe not completely, maybe not permanently, but it will fail when you need it most. Furnaces break during cold snaps because that's when they're running constantly. Power outages happen during ice storms because that's when trees fall on lines. Delivery trucks can't reach you during blizzards because roads are impassable. You need a backup heat source. not optional, mandatory, and you need it installed and tested before December. A wood stove is ideal if you can install one. It works without electricity. It's not dependent on supply chains. You control your fuel. But wood stoves require installation and venting. If you don't have one, you probably can't get one installed before winter hits. So what can you do right now? Space heaters. But not the cheap ones from discount stores. You need quality electric space heaters, plural, on different circuits. Your home's electrical system has multiple circuits. If you plug 3 space heaters into outlets on the same circuit, you'll trip the breaker. You need to spread the load. 1 heater in your bedroom, 1 in your bathroom, 1 in your kitchen. Different outlets, different circuits. And here's the critical part. Test them now. Run all 3 at the same time. See if your breakers hold. If they trip, you know you need to redistribute. Better to find out now than during an emergency when you're already cold. Also, know where your electrical panel is. Know which breakers control which outlets. Write it down. When you're 75 years old, trying to reset breakers in the dark with cold hands, you'll be glad you documented it. If you have a fireplace, get it inspected and cleaned now. Chimneys clog, creosote builds up. An uninspected fireplace can cause a house fire, and have proper firewood delivered and stacked before snow falls. You want seasoned hardwood, not greenwood, not pine, hardwood that's been dried for at least a year. A cord of good firewood can keep one room warm for weeks. Here's a story that shows why this matters. Last February in Michigan, a woman named Dorothy had her furnace fail during a polar vortex. 14 degrees outside. She called 6 HVAC companies. Every single one was booked solid for a week. Every furnace in town was breaking at the same time because of the extreme cold. Dorothy had no backup heat. She piled on. 4 days later, her daughter found her barely conscious. Hypothermia. She survived, but she lost 3 toes to frostbite. Dorothy wasn't careless, she wasn't poor, she just didn't have a backup plan. Don't be Dorothy. Get your backup heat source now, test it, make sure it works. Because when the temperature drops and your primary heat fails, you won't have time to figure it out. Tell me in the comments, do you have backup heat? Type I'm prepared if you have a tested backup system, or I need to act if you're realizing you're vulnerable. This isn't about shaming anyone. This is about seeing how many people need to take action in the next 2 weeks. Now let's talk about the second layer of winter survival, because staying warm is only half the problem. Survival wisdom 2. Stockpile essential supplies now, before shortages and price spikes hit. Most people don't connect the dots between winter weather and supply chains, but everything you need to survive gets harder to obtain in winter. Not impossible, more expensive, sometimes unavailable. And for seniors on fixed incomes, harder and more expensive can mean the difference between eating and staying warm. Let's start with food. Non-perishable food prices are going up. Not slowly. Fast. I'm tracking commodity prices. Wheat up 18% year over year. Corn up 22%. These are the ingredients in everything processed. Pasta, bread, cereal, crackers. Everything's getting more expensive, and winter makes it worse because transportation costs spike when trucks need snow chains and roads close. Here's what you need to do. Go to the grocery store this week and buy 3 months of shelf-stable food. Not freeze-dried survival food in buckets. Just regular food that doesn't spoil. Rice, beans, canned soup, canned vegetables, canned meat, peanut butter, pasta, sauce, oatmeal, coffee, tea, sugar, salt, cooking oil, things you already eat. Just buy 3 months worth instead of 1 week worth. I know what you're thinking. 3 months of food costs money. It does. Maybe $1,200 for one person, but here's the math. That same food will cost $1,500 in February. You're not spending extra, you're spending now at today's prices instead of later at higher prices, and you need that food anyway. You're just buying ahead. But here's the more important reason. Winter storms disrupt supply chains. Trucks can't deliver when roads are closed. Warehouses run low when deliveries don't arrive. Stores limit purchases when supplies are tight. Last year, multiple regions saw temporary shortages of bread, milk, and eggs during winter storms. Shelves were empty for days. If you already have 3 months of food at home, you don't care if the store is empty, you're insulated from the chaos. Now, medications. This is critical for seniors. If you take daily medications, you need to stockpile if possible. Call your doctor this week. Explain you're concerned about winter supply disruptions. Ask if they can prescribe 90-day supplies instead of 30 days. Most will. Insurance might push back. Fight them. This is your health. For medications that can't be extended, ask your pharmacist about getting refills as early as insurance allows. If your insurance lets you refill at 25 days instead of 30, do it. Build a buffer. 5 days here, 5 days there, and soon you have an extra month's supply. Because if a winter storm prevents deliveries and your pharmacy runs out of your heart medication, that's life or death. Water is something people forget. If the power goes out, many water systems fail. No power means no pumps. No pumps means no water pressure. No water pressure means nothing comes out when you turn the tap. And in winter, that's dangerous because you can't melt snow for drinking water if you don't have heat. Store water now, 1 gallon per person per day. For a month. That's 30 gallons. It takes up space. I know. Do it anyway. You can buy cases of bottled water. Or fill clean containers from your tap, date them, rotate them every 6 months. But have that water now. When a winter storm knocks out power and water, it's too late to wish you had prepared. Batteries, flashlights, candles, hand crank radio, these are basics, but most people don't have them. Or they have dead batteries in a drawer somewhere. Check your supplies this week, replace dead batteries, test your flashlights, make sure your emergency radio works, have matches or lighters that work, and know where everything is. In a winter power outage at night, you need to be able to find these things without searching. Here's the supply most people overlook. Prescription supplies for medical conditions. If you're diabetic, you need backup glucose monitors, test strips, insulin storage plans. If you use oxygen, you need backup tanks or a generator to power your concentrator. If you need medical equipment that requires power, you need a generator or battery backup. This isn't optional. This is life support. And medications that require refrigeration like insulin. If the power goes out, your refrigerator stops working. Insulin can survive at room temperature for up to 28 days. But you need to know that you need to have a plan. Small battery-powered coolers exist. Insulin can be kept at proper temperature with ice packs. But you need ice packs. You need the cooler. You need to have thought through the problem before the power goes out. Let me tell you about a man in Texas. February 2021. The big freeze. Power grid failed. His wife was diabetic. Needed insulin. Their refrigerator stopped working. They didn't have a backup plan. The insulin spoiled. They couldn't get to a pharmacy because roads were ice. No power meant pharmacy couldn't operate anyway. She went 3 days without insulin. Ended up hospitalized in diabetic ketoacidosis. Nearly died. All because they didn't plan ahead. Tell me in the comments, have you stockpiled essentials? Type food secured if you have 3 months of supplies, or starting this week if this message is pushing you to act. I want to see how many people are taking this seriously versus how many are going to wait until it's too late. Now we get to the third wisdom, and this one most people completely overlook because they think they can survive alone. You can't. Survival wisdom 3. Build your winter survival network now before crisis isolates you. Winter kills seniors through isolation more than cold. Here's how it happens. Storm hits. Power goes out, roads close, you're alone in your house, no heat. No way to call for help if phone lines are down and your cell battery dies. No way for anyone to reach you. You start getting cold. Then colder. You pile on blankets, but it's not enough. Hypothermia sets in gradually, you get confused, you make bad decisions, you fall, you can't get up. By the time someone checks on you, it's too late. This happens every winter, multiple times, in every cold state, and it's preventable. But only if you set up the system before winter arrives. Here's what you need. 3 people who will check on you daily. Not might check, will check. You need their phone numbers written down where you can find them without power. You need a specific agreement. If I don't answer my phone by noon, you come to my house, you have my key, you come in, you check on me. And you need to be that person for others. You need to check on your elderly neighbors, the widow next door, the couple down the street. You need to knock on their door or call them daily during winter storms. This is how communities survive. Not through government emergency services, through neighbors helping neighbors. Set up a communication tree. 5 seniors in your neighborhood. Everyone calls one specific person daily. If someone doesn't answer, 2 people go check. This system has saved countless lives. It's simple, it's free. It just requires organization before crisis hits. After the storm starts, it's too late to set it up. Keep your car's gas tank above half all winter. This is non-negotiable. If you need to evacuate to a warming shelter or a family member's house, an empty gas tank in a blizzard means you're stuck. Gas stations need power to pump gas. If power is out, you can't fill up. Keep it above half. Always, all winter.
And have an emergency kit in your car. Blankets, hand warmers, non-perishable snacks, water, phone charger, small shovel, kitty litter for traction if you get stuck, flashlight, first aid kit. If you slide off the road into a ditch during a snowstorm, these items keep you alive until help arrives. Without them, you're gambling with your life. Build relationships with your local services now. Know where the warming shelters are in your area. Know their phone numbers. Know what services they offer. Know if they provide transportation. When a crisis hits, you need to know these things automatically, not be searching for information on a dying phone battery. Churches, senior centers, community organizations, these are your support network. Get involved now, meet people, build relationships, exchange phone numbers. When winter crisis hits, these are the people who will check on you and the people you'll check on. Isolation is death in winter, community is survival. The fourth wisdom ties all of this together, and it's going to make you angry, but you need to hear it because it changes how you prepare. Survival wisdom 4. Government emergency plans classify seniors as low priority in crisis triage, and you need to understand what that means for your survival. I've seen the FEMA emergency response documents. I've read state emergency management plans, and here's what they don't tell you on the news. In a major winter crisis with limited resources, government emergency services prioritize younger populations over seniors. It's called crisis triage, and seniors are classified as lower priority. The reasoning is utilitarian. Save the most life years. Young families with children get priority for warming shelters, medical care, emergency supplies. Working-age adults get priority for transportation and rescue. Seniors, you're at the bottom of the priority list unless you have specific critical medical needs. It's not official policy they announce, it's embedded in response protocols. When Texas froze in 2021, where did emergency services go first? Hospitals and schools. Then residential areas with young families, senior communities. Many didn't get help for days. Some never got official help. They survived through neighbors helping neighbors, or they didn't survive. When Europe faced energy crisis last winter, who got priority for heating fuel? Industries that employed workers, public facilities, schools, senior care facilities. Many faced fuel rationing and reduced heating. Elderly died from cold-related illness at rates not seen in decades, not because Europe ran out of fuel, because governments allocated fuel away from seniors toward economic priorities. This is coming to America this winter. Not officially, not announced. But when resources are scarce and emergency services are overwhelmed, seniors will wait longer for help. Your 911 call will be prioritized below others. Your request for emergency heating assistance will be processed after younger families. Your need for medical transport will be delayed if there are younger patients. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this so you understand why self-reliance and community networks matter more than waiting for government help. You cannot depend on emergency services to save you in a winter crisis. You need to have already saved yourself before emergency services arrive. That means working heat, stockpiled supplies, communication plans, neighbors who check on you. The government's failure to maintain infrastructure, their prioritization of other spending, their neglect of the power grid, all of that has created this crisis. And now their emergency plans put you last in line for help. That's the truth. That's reality. And that's why the first 3 wisdoms matter so much. You survive through your own preparation and through your community, not through waiting for government services that might not come. Here's what you must do in the next 14 days. Secure your heat, buy backup equipment, test everything, stockpile 3 months of food, water, medications, supplies. Set up your communication network. Identify 3 people who will check on you and 3 people you'll check on. Write down all phone numbers, keep them where you can find them without power. Know where your warming shelters are. Keep your gas tank full. Build relationships with neighbors. These actions taken now mean you survive what's coming. Waiting means you're dependent on systems that are failing and services that deprioritize you. I've given you the truth. What you do with it determines whether you make it through this winter safely or become a statistic. Tell me in the comments right now, type I'm taking action if you're going to implement these wisdoms, or I'm already prepared if you've done this. Share this video with every senior you know. They need to see this. Subscribe and hit the bell, because my next video reveals the economic chaos that's coming in January that will compound everything I just warned you about. This winter will test you, but you can pass that test if you prepare now. Don't wait. Don't assume someone else will help. Take control of your survival today.